Good afternoon, and thank you so much for joining me for this WNCT Now digital news update. I'm Emily Severidge, live in our digital studio. Well, President Donald Trump has access back to his Twitter account, and one of the first tweets he put out was saying he won't be attending Joe Biden's inauguration. The president says he won't be at the January 20th ceremony in Washington. That will make him the first president since Richard Nixon to skip his successor's swearing in, and the first since Andrew Jackson to avoid attending the formal inaugural ceremony. President Trump is not saying where he'll be on the 20th or how he'll spend his final days in office. Former President George W. Bush and wife Laura do plan to attend the inauguration in person. A spokesperson for the couple says President and Mrs. Bush look forward to returning to the Capitol for the swearing in of President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. Former President Jimmy Carter and former First Lady Rosalind Carter say they will not be in attendance. The Carters are in their 90s. They've spent most of the pandemic at their Georgia home. This will be their first absence from an inaugural ceremony since President Carter's own in 1977. Well, the country is still talking about the aftermath of Wednesday's events at our nation's capital. Leaders, including President Trump, say those who were involved in violence and destruction will be sought out for persecution. But that process in identifying and charging people involved is proving to be a task. What are the charges possible and how will they be prosecuted? Our sister station in Sacramento, California reports.
People storming the Capitol to take over the duly elected government of the United States.
Sherry Rusk is a Sacramento-based attorney who has practiced federal law for nearly 3 decades, including time working in Washington, D.C. Rusk says the list of potential charges for those who participated in the mayhem runs deep. However, it's the premeditated act that she believes could draw the stiffest punishment.
Seditious conspiracy. So you've got people crossing state lines with the intent to engage in a conspiracy to commit a violent crime.
U.S. Capitol Police say some of those already arrested have been charged with unlawful entry, assaulting a police officer, and unregistered firearms.
The charges can actually be enhanced by what's called a domestic terrorism enhancement.
Mark Reichel is also a Sacramento-based attorney with experience practicing federal law. Reichel says post 9/11 federal sentencing guidelines will increase the penalty for those found guilty of storming the Capitol if their role is considered to be an act of terrorism.
To add from 5 to 25 years on top of whatever the crime is, if it's a federal crime and if it qualifies for domestic terrorism.
While the search continues for these people and others, Rusk says for those who posted about their participation, it will create a dream scenario for prosecutors.
They take selfies, in congressional offices, breaking things, stealing things, and bragging about it. It's breathtaking.
Well, we have a first alert weather day in effect for today. The possibility of rain and even some winter flurries are a possibility in different parts of eastern North Carolina. First alert meteorologist Alex Wasilenko has that forecast for us.
Friday, everybody. I'm your First Alert meteorologist, Alex Wasilenko, reporting from the WNCT studios in the First Alert Weather Center. We are discussing a First Alert weather day that's in effect now through Saturday morning as heavy rain works back into the forecast this afternoon, along with strong winds and also a renewal for the flooding concerns across the east. By the overnight period, that rain will likely transfer over to a wintry mix of sorts, maybe some rain and snow late tonight into Saturday morning, leading to some isolated slick spots, again, as we go through late tonight into the first half of the weekend. That rain starts to fill back in for the afternoon and will likely become heavy at times, but by the end of the system, late tonight into Saturday morning, cold air wraps in behind it, changing any leftover precipitation over to a rain-snow mix, and maybe just strictly a few flurries for some folks, especially along the coast. The system clears and goes out to shore as we go towards the Saturday afternoon hours, leaving behind just mainly rain for our southern and coastal communities, but upwards of a trace to 1 inch of snow through our western and central communities. That includes Pitt County and points west towards Wilson, Nash, and also Halifax counties. On the rainfall total side of things, we could be looking at anywhere between a half an inch or more of rain. Again, by the time all is said and done Saturday morning, that may aggravate flooding concerns locally. All those green shaded areas are flood warnings that are still in place across the east and coastal plains. Additional facts you need to know about this storm is that the main precipitation type will be rain, but that frozen precipitation late tonight and this Saturday morning could leave behind some isolated slick spots, especially on bridges, overpasses, and elevated surfaces, all of which tend to freeze up first. Highs today, they're going to be cold in the 30s and 40s as cloudy skies return along with windy conditions. Heavy rain will also return for the afternoon, transferring over to a wintry mix by late tonight. Your boating forecast looks pretty rough with 5 to 8 foot seas today, choppy lakes and rivers, and minor coastal flooding expected. By the overnight period, that's going to be our best chance for that wintry precipitation as lows fall back to near freezing and north winds remain persistently strong at around 30 miles per hour. Over the next several days, those flurries come to an end on Saturday morning, giving way to lots of sunshine. Sunday and Monday, it's going to be cold straight through early next week. However, there is a new system that will be arriving on Tuesday, and even though it's going to be chilly and a bit below average, it's still going to be warm enough to support just a strictly liquid event next Tuesday, with isolated showers looking likely. Make it a fantastic rest of your Friday and a happy upcoming weekend. I'm your First Alert meteorologist, Alex Waselenko.
Stay with us, and we'll be right back with some more news after this short break.
Reporters are all across the East.
In Beaufort County, in Morehead City, in Bellhaven,
And in your neighborhood.
on the New River, in Snow Hill, in New Bern, in Jacksonville.
Covering local stories that impact you.
Well, this race was by no means a close one.
The polls opened at 6:30 this morning, and people even lined up outside of this site.
Some veterans are now joining a fight against a new enemy, the coronavirus pandemic.
See their original reporting weekdays on 9 on Your Side News.
Thanks so much for joining me. If you're just tuning in, I'm Emily Severidge, live in our digital studio, bringing you some WNCT Now updates. WNCT is bringing you live streamed updates every Monday through Friday at 1:30 p.m. and 4 o'clock p.m. to bring you the latest and up-to-date news before our nightly newscasts. There's sad news from Major League Baseball today. Legendary Los Angeles Dodgers manager Tommy Lasorda has died. The team says the Hall of Famer suffered a heart attack at his LA area home last night and was pronounced dead a short time later. Lasorda won 2 World Series championships with the Dodgers and spent 71 years with the franchise. Tommy Lasorda was 93 years old. We are continuing to track COVID-19 cases statewide and across the East, and here are today's numbers. For the second straight day, North Carolina is reporting more than 10,000 COVID-19 cases in a 24-hour period. It brings our state's total for the pandemic to over 602,000. The state is also reporting 115 new deaths from the virus, a day after the state set a record one-day high of 137 deaths. Almost 4,000 people are currently in the hospital, which is the same number as yesterday. You can stay with WNCT for all of the most up-to-date information on COVID-19. A North Carolina state trooper has died after losing his battle with COVID-19. First Sergeant Timothy Lee Howell died yesterday at UNC Medical Center in Chapel Hill. State Highway Patrol officials say Howell had a lengthy but courageous battle with COVID-19 before he passed away. The trooper is survived by his girlfriend, mother, and 2 daughters. Officials are asking everyone to keep the Howell family and his Troop A District 9 colleagues in their thoughts and prayers. They expect to share plans for his memorial soon. Well, that's going to wrap up this WNCT Now Afternoon update. I'll be back again at 4 o'clock with an evening update for you before our nightly newscast. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching.